Welcome back, Camden Catholic. So I'm keeping up on my promises, and I'm gonna finish up the flip from class the other day. I'm here with Rufio, guest starring, while we talk about Roman conquest and the Punic Wars. Romans. All right. So anyway, I know, baby. I know. So we stopped when we talked about the first time that Rome got sacked, right, in 500 BC by the Gauls, also known as the Celts, right? So we talked about what a barbarian is and why Romans called barbarians barbarians because they babbled, right? From the word barbarous for Latin, which means to babble, which means to ramble on in another language because they didn't understand them. All right, so anyway, now following the sacking of Rome, when the Celts came in and destroyed everything, the Romans committed themselves to creating the biggest and baddest army that they possibly could. So they went ahead and divided their army up into more basic units, right? So as the Republic grew, the Roman army began to divide itself into these things called legions, right? Now, a legion is the most basic unit of the Roman Empire, or excuse me, of the Roman citizen army. Now, it's 5,000 men, and they're all citizen soldiers. Isn't that right, Rufio? So a citizen soldier means that they're required to be citizens of Rome. So conquered people could not be soldiers, right? So this is something that Philip of Macedonia didn't do when he conquered all that area in Greece, right? So he allowed conquered people or the Romans allowed conquered people to keep their own religion, government, customs, and money as long as they acknowledged themselves under Roman leadership. So this probably helped them grow a lot faster because who do you think that they took this idea from? Anybody? Come on now. I know it's Thanksgiving, but you gotta remember your history shenanigans, okay? So, who do you think they got the idea of being tolerant from? Good job, Tommy. I heard you over there. They got it from the Persians, right? The Persians were one of the most successful empires of all time, and they were the ones that were tolerant of everyone. So, excuse me. They would serve in the army, not as a citizen soldier, but conquered people would serve, and they also had to pay taxes under Roman leadership. So, I know you're so tired. Anyway, so as the conquest continues, by 500 BC, the Romans had extended their power to most of the Italian peninsula. Okay, they established colonies. Right, this is a very basic thing we look at these days. A colony. So, excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold over break. Now, by 272 BC, all of the peninsula was under Roman control, and a rivalry developed between Rome and the biggest city-state in the time across the Mediterranean from them, Carthage. Carthage is a city-state in northern Africa founded by Phoenicians. Now, we know that the Phoenicians were a non-conflict people. They founded the original city-state, but they weren't the ones that were like there anymore, okay? So North Africans had actually came in and set up shop there, right? Now, over who would control the sea trade in the Western Mediterranean was what the war was about. What does this sound a lot like already? Kind of like the Peloponnesian War, right? Every war breaks down to money. And back in the day, trade was money, right? So, he's so tired. Anyway, so right here, as you can see, so Rome was over here, and they controlled the entire Italian peninsula, right? The boot kicking the Sicily. Somebody tell me really quick, pop quiz, how long is Rome? Good job, Laura, 700 miles. How wide is Rome, relatively? Good job, Trang, 100 miles wide, right? So, here's Carthage, right, and the red dashed lines. Very, very large city-state. It actually really, really kind of intimidates Rome at this point because they have a sizable advantage. Also, they cover more terrain. They can actually close off trade routes on this side of the Mediterranean. As well as, but here's the thing, what's in Rome's back pocket? What is one military advantage that they have? Good job, Jenna. That's right, the coastline is mostly cliffs, so if anybody wants to attack from the outside, they either have to get onto Sicily and move their way up, or they have to go around. And we'll talk about somebody who went around and he thought it was a good idea here in a minute. So, the Punic Wars are going to happen over these trade routes, right? Now, Rome and Carthage fought 3 wars between 264 and 146 BC. Now, we all know that great things come in threes, right? Just like the Persian Wars and several other different types of wars. Excuse me. Now, boom. The first war, Rome won. That's all we really need to worry about. It was over a bunch of small skirmishes, over a bunch of small trade ports. Very, very little, right? kind of set the stage for the much larger scale wars. Just like in the Persian Wars, when who attacked where? That is a really obscure question. Let me try that again. So, Persia had a colony that started with an I. All the babes over there in where? Good job, Bears. Ionia, right? And then the Athenians were the ones that sent ships to them. They just crushed the rebellion. It was very, very simple. The Persians crushed the rebellion. Very, very simple. Very, very easy start. We all know the second one is going to be much bigger and what? That's right, much bigger and badder. So, the second war, Rome was threatened when Hannibal and his army, some on elephants, marched on the city of Rome. So, let's jump backwards real quick and talk about Hannibal's tactical attempt. So, here we go. Hannibal's down here in Carthage, right? So, Hannibal actually grew up in Carthage. He was a Carthaginian citizen from birth. And there's a legend about Hannibal. Hannibal was a ruthless dude. He doesn't look like it. When you imagine Hannibal in your mind, you imagine a guy with like no hair and he's got like, sweet beard and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not like that. He's just a normal looking ancient guy. But his father sacrificed a lamb and then made Hannibal put his hand on it and swear hatred of Rome. So Hannibal's hated Rome ever since he was born. Now, Hannibal's got two options, right? He can either try and hop Sicily right here and move up, but that's not a really good idea because it's just going to get more and more rugged on the terrain as we go up, right? And Rome is right here in the middle, so you wouldn't want to go through this area. So his idea is come around on Rome's backside, go up all the way around, go over the Alps up here in northern Italy, and then come down to Rome, right? Well, here's the thing. He didn't really plan on the fact that this trip is going to take a long time. Crossing mountains is very, very tough, and then also it was kind of cold. So he took 20 war elephants with him, but he only made it there with like 5. So Roman General Scipio, though, here's the thing. If you're Scipio, right, if you're the Roman General Scipio, and you heard that Hannibal is coming, he's on his way, right, where do you go if he just took his entire Carthaginian army with him? Who's back protecting Carthage? Isn't that right, Clancy? Right? So Rome and Scipio decide to attack Carthage after they have left. So now Hannibal has to turn around and try to come back with a depleted army. Hannibal was forced to return to Africa to protect Carthage's land, and Carthage gave up. Okay, so they surrendered. Now, after the Third Punic War in 146 BC, Carthage was left in ruins. There's not even a lot of it left anymore. And most Carthaginians were sold into slavery. Where did these slaves end up? That's exactly right, Simon. In the gladiatorial rings, right? So, Greece, Macedonia, and parts of Southwest Asia came under Roman control using diplomacy and threats. Who does that sound like? Who came up with the threats and the diplomacy? We just talked about him a second ago. Good job, Andy Miles. I heard you back there. Philip II, right? Philip II used diplomacy and threats to conquer all of Greece. So, the thing about Rome that everybody gives them so much credit is everybody thought that they were the epitome of everything great in the ancient world. When you really, really think about it, Rome was just taking everybody else's ideas and just calling them their own, right? So they didn't really do that much special because all this stuff had been done before. 3 wars like the Persians and Greeks. Diplomacy and threats just like Philip II. Are you really laying like that right now? You serious? Y'all see this right here? He likes to sleep a lot during Thanksgiving. Where's your face? All right, anyway, so he lays on his back. He's weird. All right, so now this right here, as you can see, this is when Hannibal showed back up in Carthage, and he tried to defend his lands with whatever war elephants he had left off. There's stories that say, number one, that Hannibal ate dead soldiers after they froze in the Alps. Of course, we don't know if this is true because it's not like some little guy running around in the back just writing all this stuff down. These are legends, right? And then also there's a legend that he lost a ton of elephants on the trip because like 12 of them fell off a mountain. And is that funny? Yes, it is, because I want you to imagine a giant like lumbering elephant just going and just slipping on ice. That's funny. Imagine Mr. Terry falling, right? That's a several stage thing. So the Roman Republic was divided into, oh, dang, you can't even see it. It was divided into provinces, and a governor was appointed to rule each one, okay? Now, one of our most famous governors that's actually going to be in charge of Gaul before he even becomes a dictator is, of course, who? Julius Caesar. He was one of these famous governors, okay? So all these provinces had a governor, right? Now, the people of the new provinces had to pay taxes, and some were also taken into slavery. Hey, we're Rome. We need people to do stuff, right? Foot. All right. So anyway, excuse me. By the height of the Roman Empire, this is how far it extended. Now, as you can tell, honestly, Rome did a good job. They conquered the entire civilized world at one point. So, but here's the problem. Everything great must come to an end, and the bigger they are, the harder they what? The harder they fall, right? We're not there yet. We got to talk next about the Roman leaders that got them to this point, right? We got to talk about Hadrian and his wall up here in Britain. We got to talk about Marcus Aurelius and his campaigns through this Germanic area over here. We got to talk about Augustus and his campaigns throughout the Western Europe and his growth and why he made everybody so awesome and public bathhouses and blah. And then we also got to talk about some really crappy emperors too, right? So this is it for the break. Make sure you come in with this ready because we are going. Here is the embedded message. We are having a quiz on this on Tuesday. You will have a fill-in-the-blank quiz with no word bank on Tuesday, the second you come into class after your woo-saw. All right? There's the embedded message. Come in ready to rock and roll. I'm also checking this flip for a homework grade. When you come back, whack 'em, whack 'em, whack 'em, you. Sound good? Y'all have a fantastic rest of your break. I appreciate all y'all. Enjoy tomorrow off. Miss you guys. See you then. Say bye-bye, Rufio. Rufio? Rufio. There you go, bum. Say bye.